33 years ago, a movie about a disillusioned African prince looking to break away from tradition and find a bride outside of Africa was made. In 1988, Coming to America had a simple premise and setup, but the ensemble cast of veteran actors and comedians treated the subject matter more seriously than you would have expected a comedy movie made at the time to do so. The movie was one part love story and one part comedy, and it managed to perfectly blend the two by keeping you invested in the story of the prince Akeem finding his queen, while at the same time having nearly perfect comedic timing. Eddie Murphy, who played Akeem, once said that he was surprised by the enduring legacy of the movie and how much people quote from the movie. That says to me that it was a surprise success for many of the actors, and that sometimes the best comedy is the comedy that isn't necessarily intended to be funny. After so many years of fans asking for a follow-up and the project seemingly being started and stopped multiple times, the sequel, Coming to America, with a number 2 in the middle, finally hit Amazon Prime and select theaters on March 4th. The setup is once again simple. Akeem discovers that he has a son back in America that he never knew about after a one-night stand that he barely remembers. He's been hoping for a male heir to the throne after having 3 daughters, and seeks to track down this son and bring him back to eventually rule his kingdom, Zamunda. It's not a bad setup, to be honest, and I had high hopes of seeing the type of new and ridiculous scenarios they could come up with while Akeem once again travels back to the States with his friend Simi in tow. It's disappointing then that the Coming to America sequel seems afraid to be its own movie. I've already seen the original numerous times, and I think it's an enduring classic that still holds up well and will most likely never stop being funny. However, if I want to hear those jokes again, then I would just go and watch that movie. Coming to America 2 reuses so many of the same jokes that it appears whoever wrote it was so afraid of being compared to the original that they thought it was best to just play it safe and do exactly what worked for that movie, word for word and joke for joke. I kept waiting for the movie to branch out on its own and make its own new jokes and create its own timeless legacy, but it never does. It's as if the actors themselves knew they were going to just phone it in anyway, because they deliver those same lines we've heard before in the most deadpan of tones, and sometimes it's like they're looking right into the camera and saying to the audience, "Remember that one?" Yes, we do remember it. We've been quoting it for 33 years. For example, in one scene, the mother of the prince, played by Leslie Jones, is taking a bath at the palace. In a flip of the events from the first movie, a naked muscular male appears out of the water with a rag and soap. He knows what he's about to say. We all know what he's about to say. And then he says it. It's that fear of the risk of doing something new that completely took me out of it. There are some bright spots in the movie that shows me it could have been far better. Wesley Snipes steals the show as a dictator type character from the lazily named country of Nextdoria. He's power hungry and wants Zamunda for his own. He eats up every scene he's in and seems to be the only actor who tried to have some fun with it and breathe new life into it. The actor who plays Akeem's son, Jermaine Fowler, I thought did a pretty good job. Some scenes in the beginning and towards the end of the film showed him to be a pretty competent enough actor to carry as much of the film as he did. I only wish much of his story actually took place in America and showed the dynamic between his upbringing versus what Akeem expects of him. The old barbershop gang is back also, and they are once again one of the funniest parts of the movie. The movie, unfortunately, mostly takes place in Zamunda, and at times the characters seemingly teleport back and forth between continents at will. It probably shouldn't have been called Coming to America, but I guess Coming to Africa isn't nearly as marketable as a name. I thought I wouldn't care for the inclusion of Leslie Jones and Tracy Morgan, but surprisingly, I ended up enjoying both of their performances, and they brought much needed freshness to the movie. In the end, the movie is purely fan service that plays it frustratingly safe. All the usual suspects from the first movie are here, and they went out of their way to make sure they were crammed in purely for nostalgia's sake. Take those recurring characters out though, and you're left with a disappointingly shallow movie that ironically comes across as a made-for-TV movie and not one originally intended for the big screen. My score for Coming to America is a C-. It could have been a much better and different movie than we got, but if you want a decent rehash of 33-year-old jokes, then it's worth at least one viewing. If you're like me and wanted more of a story about Akeem and his son's antics set in America, then you'll come away somewhat disappointed. Let me know what you thought about Coming to America. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.